do you think that by running your own firm, you learned more in terms of leadership than working at some of those other larger sort of brand names?
Hmm. Um, Let me think about that.
Well, the reason
It's,
for the question is, you know, maybe they're at this point because you're also hiring for other clients, but at the same time, you have your own team.
yes.
So, what would be a few factors that you really look, at a person to really know that this person is in it for the long haul? Um, Nobody has the same vision or the same drive, or they're not up all night like the CEO might be, stressing and focusing and thinking about their company. And when you find somebody like that, that's the closest thing to, that's the best thing you can get. But what are some of the ways to get somebody like that on your team as you build your own company?
Well, it's very difficult, obviously, because um, having the owner mindset, right, and the mentality, you kind of have to be the owner, right? And and one of the things that's a challenge, and or it's a pain, or I guess frustrating a little bit, is like develop a team like this, and then you actually develop people that go out and
Right.
then do it on their own. Although I did it, and so I've had spinoffs from my own company,
Hmm.
which was disappointing in some ways because I felt that we could still do what they wanted to do inside. I'm flexible
Hmm.
to make it, but yet they wanted to do that. And then some of them said, "Well, yeah, but I need to go and experience it for myself." And so I understand that. So I think it's extremely difficult to do what you're saying. Uh, but I do think, yes, perhaps I probably have learned more in this case because the way I've grown the business, my involvement in external organizations as the chambers of commerce, serving on the different boards, uh, overseeing that organization for the Seoul Metropolitan Government. Those opportunities I could not have had if I was a hired gun inside one of those larger companies. I'd been limited on what I could do. I'd been limited to just their objectives and their needs, and even serving anywhere externally of the company, most cases are not possible. Or even like I write blogs and articles. Do a variety. I do speaking engagements on TV and on radio and other things. All right, and I can say pretty much what I want to say because it's my company. And if I believe it, I can say it. So I don't have the limitations. But sometimes I have limitations because the boards that I'm on certain topics and certain things, I do have limitations, or I should be very careful, which I am. But I have probably less limitations than if I was a hired gun inside one of these companies. So yes, in that way. And then I think because of my continual education of myself, and it's a daily thing actually. I have a process where I'm constantly gaining knowledge. It's never ending. Had I had any idea that I would study and do as much as I do now when I was in high school or university, I would have said, "What? No, not me." But it's what I have to do, you know. Um, yeah. So no, I think so. I guess the answer is yes. I guess I probably gain more, and I think what you alluded to too by working with these large multinational companies, these Fortune 100 companies, and also other great companies that most people never heard of, but they're great in their industries. Learning them. I'll just tell you one easy example. I remember years ago we worked with a print cartridge company, right?
Print cartridge company.
Yes, they make printers and they make the cartridges for their
Hmm.
printers, right? And unless you know the industry, you would think, well, the printers is where they make the money because it's the highest dollar value. I mean, it's the most money spent in the cartridge, it's a small piece, but that's not true. They make their money on the refilled cartridges. That's really where they make the money. So they
Hmm.
make the printer pricing so competitive because once they get you in, they know you have to buy their printing cartridges. So I didn't know that until I got into that world. Or another lesson learned. like in insurance industry, when I began to work in that industry years ago, I learned, guess who's the biggest purchasers of insurance? Insurance
The
companies.
largest, all other insurance companies.
Insurance companies. And there are reinsurance companies that reinsure. The insurance companies buy insurance and reinsure themselves, protecting their risk and things. And so insurance companies are the biggest purchasers of insurance. So,
Mm,
so I think you find out things like this in different industries and different technologies and things that is, I think, quite interesting. It gives you a broader perspective of, I guess, just the world and how things operate. And also, I mentioned earlier about the cultures. It's kind of interesting that I've seen crossovers, like things that I learned about different companies when I was in production, that different countries like France, Japan, Korea, and America would have different quality control expectations. And I won't get into details because I want to give secrets away. But there's different details and secrets or things that these countries have and demand of the customer, of the producer, the manufacturer. And what's interesting is I saw a correlation in the other industries, in different products and different services with some of these very same countries, some cultural nuances, some attitudes, some things that cross over to different products and services. And that's kind of interesting. You think, wow, these people from this part of the world are kind of like this. And you see this not only from a cross-culture perspective, which I will coach on, but you see it in their product decisions, the choices they make, and then their expectations of quality, and what they say quality is and what others predict. So it's different. So to see that crossover into different, for example, I'll give you a quick example. We've always said the Koreans are very ambidextrous, very good with their hands. So that's why they're very good in athletic footwear making. They're very good with apparel making. But did you know that the Koreans are also very good with surgery on humans? They said
I
they're
could believe
very
that.
good. Yes, so they're very, very good with their skills. So you think, well, they can make a shoe, they can sew your heart, or they can fix your heart. Yes, they can. I've known a couple of foreigners who have had brain surgeries at a major hospital here, and a lot of things. And so I think that's kind of interesting to see some trends and things that you wouldn't necessarily associate with that culture and those groups of people that crosses over different industries and products and services. And that's kind of fascinating. That could be a book in itself, actually.